Alright, I wanted to make a video about these knockoff Ultratechs from China because I think a lot of the videos about these are sort of not being genuine. For some reason, people are buying these and then making reviews of them on YouTube and then just wanting to chastise other people for wanting to buy them too. And they'll spend like 15 minutes talking about how this is immoral and wrong and all that shit. But if you're even looking up this video, chances are you don't really care about that, and chances are they don't truly care about that either, or they wouldn't have bought them in the first place. If you're really morally against this, you wouldn't just be buying them for shits and giggles like they claim they do. I'm just going to talk about how these knives are, if they're worth the $40, $50, $30 you spend on them, etc. First off, I've never held a real Microtech, so I can't compare them directly to a real one. All I've done is watch YouTube videos. I can, however, testify to the legitimacy of other knockoffs. I do own real Benchmades, I do own real Spydercos, etc. And I've bought the knockoff versions of those, and they're very, very close to the real one. Some of them are so close that I can't, if you handed it to me, I wouldn't know the difference between a real one and a fake one, unless you just like looked at it under a microscope or something. So I'm assuming that's how these are. You probably can't tell a difference unless you really, really look. I've got two of them here. I've got just a regular Ultratech, and I've got the Star Wars Bounty Hunter version. I've had this one for about 3 weeks. I've had this one for about 1 week. Ordered them at the same time. It's impressive how they come. They both come in this box, and they have this manual, and they have a little proprietary, I can't say it. The little tool that is only useful if you have a Microtech. That's what it means. Proprietary. It's got the box. It's got a manual. It's got, in the manual, it has a product registration form, which I think is pretty funny. Well, it's sort of funny and it's sort of not at the same time. Like, I have no problem if you're buying these for yourself, but there's some people out there buying these and then they're trying to pass them off as the real thing and make money off of them. Like, these go from, I've seen them 30, 40, 50 bucks. I don't think there's any difference in any of them. I think it's just the price from different sellers. Another weird thing is the manual in one of them was for a Halo, not an Ultratech, which it's weird, but and I would like to see what would happen if you actually tried to fill out the knife registration and send it in. I've heard tell that people have tried stuff like this with other companies, maybe Microtech itself, and they had their knife confiscated when they tried it. I would not recommend that. Because even if they did do anything, it would be sort of shady. Because it's not a real knife, and you're not paying for a real knife. They both come in these sheaths, holsters, whatever you want to call them. This is one of the ways you can tell it's not a real Microtech, because from what I've seen, the real Microtechs come in Kydex holsters, and this is just like a shitty little nylon top deal. It's not bad though. I've been keeping them inside this when I'm not messing around with them. They keep it protected, I guess. It's got a little thing on there for your belt loop if you want to put it on your belt. The box, like I said, I've never had a real Microtech, but it looks legit. I'm assuming, like most Chinese knockoffs, if you stare at it long enough, you'll probably find some misspelled words. There's a problem right there. The advanced knife technology using the line right, and the G and the Y go around the side of the box. But that's just some stuff you're only going to notice if you're autistic, like some people on YouTube. The knife themselves, though, that's what people are here for. The red one I've had for 3 weeks. It's a dagger style. The action's pretty loose on it. I've had the red one apart about 3 or 4 times, and that's how you see that. It's a little scratch right there. That's how that happened, because I was using their little tool and trying to take this screw out, and it slipped and did a little scratch. And the reason I've been taking it apart is because, like, 1 out of 10 times it does that. It'll go out and it won't latch. And I can't do it with this. See if I can do it with one hand. All you gotta do is like pop it back out. It's like this safety mechanism where if you try to deploy it against something, it'll stop. But like 1 out of 10 times it does that. I can't figure out why. I think it's the spring, because I've taken it apart, like I said, 4 or 5 times. I've looked at it extensively. There's nothing obvious there that's wrong with it. If you know, though, what's wrong with it, comment down below, because I'd like to get it fixed to where it doesn't do this at all. It's sort of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. I've seen videos where some of the real ones do that too. Like I said, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's the spring. The main spring that goes from like here to here. Fairly certain it's that spring, and that's why it's doing it. It's got blade play, but I mean, that's normal for these. But I think this one has a little bit too much blade play, and that's why I think it might be the spring. I mean, I got bored, and I did a lot of research on this and how they work and everything. Stripped it apart completely 4 times. Got way up in there. First, I thought it was the spring for this. It looks sort of janky. But I watched videos of people taking apart the real one, and apparently all the springs look janky like that on the trigger and this thing down here, this latch. So I guess it's not that. I'm pretty sure it's the spring that runs from here to here that's a little bit weak. And if it's that so, I could probably fix it for like less than $5. Besides that, which I get, that's probably like a deal breaker for some people. That happens like, let's see if I can get it to do it 1 out of 10 times. Not even that, probably. There it went. There's probably like 1 out of every 10 times. That's probably a deal breaker for some people, but I think it can be fixed. I just have to figure out the problem. You can sort of shake it to get it to go back on track, or you can pull it all the way out. It's easier to pull it all the way out, but I have one hand free right now. The glass breaker's solid. The construction of it's solid. It feels got a little bit of weight to it. It doesn't feel cheap. The pocket clip's fine. I've carried it a few times. I'm assuming the blade steel is shitty, and that's why it's so cheap. I don't know. I do know, however, that it's razor sharp. I've not used it a lot because even if I had a real Microtech, I wouldn't use it a lot. I think for me personally, knives like this is more like just a fun thing to mess around with than like a utility piece. Which that goes for a lot of my knives. I use this to open packages and stuff like that. But just for shits and giggles, I use this just to cut a little bit. And you know those bubble mailers, that stuff come in, it's like plastic and bubbly. It sliced right through that like it was nothing. And that usually means it's a pretty sharp knife. But like I said, I'm assuming it's a low quality blade steel. I mean, for 30, I think it was $40. It's got to be a low quality blade steel. And that will be one of the things that I'll look out for in the future, is if that holds up. I don't want, to have that in my safe just sitting there and it rust by itself or something. And I've had knives that have done that. There it went again. Let's talk about the other one. This one has the opposite problem, but we'll get to that in a second. Talk about the obvious. This obviously isn't a real bounty hunter. If you've actually looked at the real bounty hunters have like a worn finish, like Boba Fett's real armor in The Empire Strikes Back. I think it has a different button. This is a little bit different on it. There's something else. There's quite a few cosmetic things that is different on the real bounty hunter. Personally, for me though, it's not enough of a difference to want to pay. I don't know how much the real bounty hunter is. I think Ultratech's $300. It's not enough to want to pay that extra money. Out of the box, the glass breaker was really loose on this one. Didn't take but a second, just tightened it up and now it's fine. Now here's the problem with this one. Like I said, it's sort of the opposite problem. It opens up pretty well. It takes a lot more pressure than the red one does. While it's open, another way to tell they're not real. From what I've seen, all the real Microtechs have their name on the blade, and these do not. But this damn thing's about impossible to close. It's really tight. I know what people will say. They'll be like, well, knife noob or whatever, you don't know what you're doing. But I've done put lubrication in it. I put quite a bit of WD-40 in it, and that's not helped. I think it's the spring. I think the spring's like really strong in this, because it takes a lot to get it back in. It takes a lot more pressure to get it out too than the other one, but that's not a big deal. But you really got to put some torque on it to get it back in. I guess that's a double-edged sword, I guess. I've got both a tight one and a loose one. Honestly, the loose one's more fun to mess around with because it doesn't tear up your thumb. But overall, if you're on the fence about these and you have the money to get it, I'd say go for it. For $40, it's good. It's a good knife for $40. I've paid a lot more for knives and been disappointed. The only thing I have a question about is the blade quality long term. Like 6 months from now, a year from now, etc. Everything feels pretty sturdy besides that. Like it's a well-constructed knife. It feels like the body or whatever you call it is pretty well made. The components on the inside looks exactly the same as a real one. The blades though, that's the question. And I guess maybe 6 years from now, not 6 years, 6 months from now, a year from now, I might do an update on this to see how they're holding up. They're probably not going to get much use eventually. Right now, I'm constantly sort of just like fidgeting with them, flicking them open and closed. But eventually that novelty's going to wear off. And they're going to sit in my gun safe with the rest of my knives and guns. But if you know the problem with this, comment below and tell me. I'd like to get it fixed. It's not that big of a deal to me, but it annoys me at the same time. Like, if this was a knife that I carry all the time, it wouldn't be that annoying. Actually, that's not true. Just the fact that it's messed up annoys the shit out of me. If you know how to make this one loose, comment and tell me. Really wish I would have got this one with a serrated blade. I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. But yeah, if you know how to fix either one of those, comment and tell me. If you're on the fence about it, I would say do it. If you're one of those people who think knockoff knives are evil, fuck you.